Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of James Bond Bitcoin Live. And today I don't have a guest here, but that's all right. I think today I'm kind of the special guest because I like to share a story with you. But I'm here with Brian as always, and as usual. Say hello, Brian.
Howdy, James. Howdy, everybody. Thanks for joining us here. James Bond Bitcoin Live.
Excellent, Brian. And of course, thanks for joining. Always happy to have you here on the channel. So, first thing I like to talk about is my personal experience here out in Houston with the recent Hurricane Harvey and the storm, the rain that just started pouring. After my show with you and Jabonics on Sunday, I didn't get any alerts or any mandatory warnings. I got a warning that there might be potential flooding, but in this area that I'm at, there's it's not a flood zone, and the levees are set up for 100-year flood, so they're high up to 100 years. Well, Monday morning, that changed all of a sudden, and it became apparent that the levees may breach if the rains continue. And I got I got several emails throughout the day, and finally they got another. The last email I got was for a mandatory warning to evacuate. Now it doesn't mean I'm forced to leave because I did stay behind, but I let my wife and kids try to go someplace safe so we won't have to be in a hurry trying to get anywhere. And so I'm considering everything. I'm moving everything. I'm packing stuff. I'm getting my wife and kids ready. I give them my car, the best car we have, with a full tank of gas. The storm came in a the warnings came in a hurry because I wasn't I didn't realize there was a hurricane, and it seemed more like a tropical storm that wasn't going to affect Houston. But I, as you've seen from my previous videos with the my cut-ins in the beginning, it seemed like a sunny day, and it was a sunny day all the way up to Friday, and Friday is when it started raining. And so uh, I I didn't take it too serious because it didn't seem like it was a big deal at the time. But apparently, as the hurricane started moving towards Houston, slowly over the coast, and I think it hit Corpus Christi. And hey, Carlos, looks like you said, oh, you're in Katy. Wow, are you doing okay, Carlos? Carlos is in the chat with us, and so hopefully you're doing okay.
How far is Katie from Houston?
Well, Katy is probably about maybe half an hour west of Houston. Depends if you drive fast or slow on the I-10. I'm glad to see you're okay, Carlos. So, anyways, I by the time after the show on Sunday, Monday morning, all of a sudden, I got kind of scared because the warnings were pretty scary that there might be a breach in the levee, and that if it does breach, there could be 4 to 10 foot of water, is what they estimated based on at that time. So
So they were looking at a tragedy of Led Zeppelin proportions.
it did seem that way because from what I could tell, Houston was already flooded. There's parts of downtown Houston. As I was looking at pictures, my wife had her Facebook, and she was looking at the pictures and everything, and there was a lot of roads underwater, literally underwater, and it seemed like homes were already, inundated with water. So at the time, we were still enough and dry enough because we don't live in a flood zone, although most of Houston does. And so, but the Monday morning it was still raining and the rains were coming down pretty heavy. And so I gave her the best car. I told her good luck, and I basically wanted her not to get too far, but far enough to the point where she's out of the area. But we have no place to go. Um, you know, our friends are probably already kind of unreachable because of the flooding water. And so she made plans to go up to Dallas, try to get far away as she can. What ended up happening was the rain was so bad that day, it started pouring to the point where the roads were flooding at that time. It was middle. It was like around 3 or 4 on Monday, and I don't know how she did it, but she killed the car. The car would not start, and so she did park in a gas station, and with the window slightly rolled down. But eventually, she was rescued by a good Samaritan and stayed the day with a stranger, a good Samaritan stranger. So.
Now, where's your family end up going to?
I'm sorry, Brian, you're breaking up.
Where are they now, your family?
Okay, right now, what happened was, so they spent the night at the Good Samaritan, and that Monday night, it was raining really, really heavy, and it was getting worse. The flooding was getting worse. And so the next day, it was the storm started to move more to the east, and so the way the rotation of the tropical storm, it was on the, let me see, how can I say this? Houston was on the right side on Monday, and Tuesday it started going. It passed enough where the storm was on the right side of Houston. So the way the storm works, it turns counterclockwise. Anything coming on the right side of the storm brings all the rain, and so the rain moved over a little bit more to the right. So there was a little break, and the water started to recede enough to the point where she was able to get picked up by our friend out in Katy, actually, and that's where she is now. Actually, she today she went back to the car, and the car started after it stalled. So she drove the car back to her friend's house, and that's where she is. I'm not sure if it's safe. The neighbors around here are still they've come back, although the mandatory evacuation is still in effect. So I'll wait another day before I ask them to come back, and hopefully the roads are safe enough as well for them to drive back, because I think there's still some flooding going on out in the roads.
Well, I'm glad to hear that everything worked out and that your family is safe.
Okay, thank you, Brian. But I did want to share at the time, like after they left, I started moving everything around, like upstairs and, you know, on the tables and chairs, just in case there was any flooding. And just to let you know, in my neighborhood, on the other side of the levee, there was flooding. People had to be rescued out of their homes, so they ended up getting some several inches of water in their homes, and also around my other neighborhood on this side of the levee where I live, there was also flooding in this area. So there was flooding in the area, but where I am, I'm actually fortunate where I did not receive any water whatsoever. But it made me think about what to do with my private keys and my wallet. And so I wanted to ask you, Brian, what I don't know how much Bitcoins you have or what other cryptocurrencies. What would you do, or what kind of plans do you have in this situation?
Well, I don't have a lot of cryptocurrency. I have very little. It's meager, especially when compared to some of the folks that we've had on as guests. But I have uh, my little wallets, and I have the master seed phrases for them backed up on paper and laminated. I've also actually sent those to a family member. I have someone that holds them out of state for me in case something were to happen to either me or to my copies.
Wow. Well, you're a little bit more prepared than I was. I never thought I'd be in this situation. It came all of a sudden. I did think about it, and one of my plans was to have it on. Um, I take pictures of my uh, private keys, and now my backup recovery seed, um, and I have them on one, two, three, kind of like three device. One is on a little memory, little micro memory stick or memory card, and basically you see those on in your phone, one of those micro SD cards. So I have, and I actually did that before Friday. I had just, I've been meaning to do something like that, and I don't know why I did it this before Friday, but I didn't even know about the hurricane until my daughter came home and told me that there's no school Friday, which was Tuesday, um, the day before Tuesday, uh, that there was a storm coming. But what I ended up doing was I have tough books, and so what I did is I put one of the smartphones that I use into a waterproof case and into a fireproof case, or fireproof little briefcase, and then put that upstairs. All the laptops I put upstairs, and then the micro SD card I kept with me, with my fanny pack, which I have my gun in. Um, I also had my rifle ready because I didn't know if there was going to be any looting or if the power was going to go out. There has been reports of looting in Houston, and so I wanted to be make sure that I was prepared for anything like that as well. But everything I had was at the house. I didn't have a contingency plan where I had where somebody else was holding my private keys. So basically, I was screwed. If this house went down in flames, that would have been it.
I tell you what, James, I'll make a deal with you. You send me all of your private keys, and I will keep them safe. And if anything happens to yours, you contact me, and I'll give them to you so you can restore your Bitcoin.
That sounds very very smart. That might not be a bad idea. You can encrypt the private keys, and that way, you don't have to show them out straight. But that might be an idea in the future where you can give someone an encrypted private key, and then if something was to happen, you can go out and somehow meet your friends or family, and then you could decrypt them, if you trust them enough, of course.
Well, you
Well,
trust
you
me.
trust me.
Well, I've never met you, but I guess in one day we will, and perhaps I will give you a private key. You know, you never know.
Well, that's
Well, that's
okay.
okay.
Your
Your
Bitcoins have
Bitcoins have
survived
survived.
so many years without me. I'm sure they'll be fine.
And thank you for the offer, Brian. So I wanted to share that story, and you know, as much as prepared I thought I was about an emergency situation, um, you never know what's really going to happen until it actually happens. I do have a small little briefcase for that's fire resistant or fireproof, quote unquote. I don't know how good that is. Um, and then I had a little case that was waterproof. But when it really happens, you realize, wow, all my private keys, everything I have is right here. Now, if this house goes, it goes. And so I think this is a good lesson for me to kind of have a better understanding. Maybe I should have a better plan. Although nothing happened, which I'm grateful, but it really opened my eyes up because when I was watching the news, I saw a lot of people's houses like almost 4 to 5 feet. Some of them are 10 feet underwater. I saw apartment buildings getting engulfed in the flood, and if you can imagine, your computer, your paper wallets, your Trezors, would you have time to take them with you? And if you did, how would you protect it? Because you might be underwater, and how would you recover from that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
that's what
people don't
people don't
realize. If you
realize. If
put
you put
everything on a
everything on a
hardware
hardware
wallet,
wallet,
it is susceptible to all the things that any other electronic hardware is susceptible to, such as water. So is a
Yeah,
paper
so
wallet. That's why you laminate it.
that that is true. And then there was also the threat of fire because as I was watching the news, there were people they were saying to when your house gets flooded, turn off the power. Turn off the power at your house because your house can be shorted, and then now not only are you flooded, but your house can go catch on fire as well while it's raining. Your house could be burning from the inside, flooded in the inside while it's raining outside, and so you're really screwed. And so now that I lived through that, and I'm grateful that I had a chance to experience something like that, and I hope a lot of us are more prepared. And I'm hoping that the recovery efforts here go very smoothly. And my greatest concern is um, riots at this point, but hopefully none of that's going to happen. But even then, now you have to consider the possibility of riots and looting. And so, how would one handle that as well? Since we're talking about cryptocurrency, where we bear a lot of the burden of protecting our money at this point, because we're no longer have a at least I barely have any bank accounts left, and I barely have any money in the bank accounts.
So at that
so at
point,
that
it's
point, it's
it's up to you to defend it if something were to happen, looting, rioting, as you alluded to. Then that's why you have pistol, rifle, and the Second Amendment and property rights.
Yeah, yeah, and I did stay behind because of that. I could have left with my wife and children, but at the same time, I know if I leave the house, it's definitely depending how bad it is. It didn't get bad, but I did stay behind to prepare everything, to move everything upstairs because my wife was exhausted. She was just moving. We moved the couch, and I wanted to save the couch because that's where I spent a lot of my time. So we moved the couch on top of and to raise it up at least 2 to 3 feet off the ground if it did flood. But when I was reading the mandatory evacuation notice, they were expecting 4 to 10 feet. It was a 50. It's a 59-foot levee, and they were expecting it to have it crest, and they're still expecting it to crest because even though the rains have stopped, the water shedding off from all the other flooding is going to eventually go into the rivers and the bayous, and everything from north coming down south is the river is going to eventually flow to the ocean. And the other part of the hurricane was as the hurricane was on the left side of Houston, the storm is moving counterclockwise, so it's actually pushing water into Houston, preventing the rivers and the bayous from draining out. So that was the other cause of the swelling of all the rivers and everything. And there's still a chance of the levee being breached, but I'm hopeful and that it won't breach. So today is actually pretty sunny. The sun came out for the very first time in almost 5 days.
Have
have
Are there stand your ground laws in Texas?
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could say they're stand your ground. They're castle doctrine. Um, basically, if I know this for a fact that if anyone who's not supposed to be on my property at night, um, you can shoot first and ask questions later. You have more leeway, I guess, at night when there's when there's no daylight. And the assumption is that why would someone come out to your property at night other than to for nefarious purposes? So roaming around in Texas on someone else's property at night is not a really good idea. Matter of fact, in my neighborhood, someone was already shot and killed for doing that. And from what I understand, it was a person who was trying to rob a house, and the homeowner came out and just shot him, without any warning. Just anyone who's out on your property at night, you can definitely shoot now and ask questions later.
Wow.
Wow.
All right.
All right.
So,
So
nothing
nothing
happened. There was
happened.
no
There was no
retribution to the
retribution to the
homeowner. He
homeowner.
was
He was
within
within
all of
all of
his legal
his legal
rights.
rights.
Yeah, yeah. When you're on someone's property, you're especially at night, and you're not supposed to be there. You better make sure you're you're there, you know, not doing anything bad because you could get shot here in Texas.
I guess that's one reason people say don't mess with Texas.
Yes, yes, and I know that because I did take a class when I did receive my license to carry, and that was one of the things they covered. So let's go on to another thing. Unless you have any questions, or maybe the chat has any questions for me. And so I'm reading um, some of the chat here, and I see Free Skillshare Media. How you doing? Uh, Dual Overhead Camness. I see you there. Uh, Katrina and Spencer Hansen. Thank you for showing up, and Crypto Kerbit. And Richie Rich, you're here as well. Thank you very much for coming on being in the chat. And Iggy's here. Iggy just popped in. So one of the things I want to talk with you.
You said Iggy Pop.
Iggy popped. Yeah. Well, he did. Iggy popped in right here at the last minute, evening. So let's talk about some of the things I wanted to talk on today's live stream here was okay. Be prepared. Take care of yourself. Emergency situations. Think about what you're going to do with your phones, your private keys, especially for people who have a lot of bitcoins. Even if you have a Trezor, a Keep Key, or are these hardware devices, are they protected against water? Are they protected against fire? Eventually you write the backup seed on paper. Make sure all your private keys is not in one place. And I don't mean like, well, you have one in your kitchen and one in your bedroom and one upstairs. I mean, just that's not a good idea, is what I'm finding out. Have it someplace utterly somewhere else, somewhere safe. Give it to Brian. He'll hold it for you. You can trust him. And or have it with the family member somewhere else. But if you had to leave in an emergency, I mean, you don't have time to think. Like your family or your wallet. What would you what do you choose? It's kind of, of course you would choose your family, right? And so if you had to leave, I'm fortunate where I already am somewhat prepared. I already have like 4 backpacks, uh, ready to go. 2 of them have my guns in it, and so some clothes and everything. Uh, Richie Rich, you would really take your wallet over your family? Really? You're kidding me, right? Oh, he just said wallet, lots of laugh. Um, I guess for some people who don't have children and wives, you would just go ahead and take your wallet. I understand that. But another thing I wanted to talk about was SegWit transactions. I did some videos with SegWit transactions. Brian, you were a recipient of one of them, I believe.
Yeah, I got one of these SegWit transactions successfully. I think I did it via parent pays for child. Is that what it's called?
I guess that's what you can call it. Um, Essentially, I did a very at the time I did that. I think I used Coinami Wallet. I only put in 22 cents worth of Bitcoin, and you know the mempool was really flooded, almost 50,000 transactions at the height of it, and essentially you just pulled the transaction. I guess you could call it parent pays for child. Basically, my transaction wasn't enough to to get confirmed quick enough. But if you find a wallet that will allow you to spend unconfirmed transactions, and I believe you use Mycelium wallet.
No, that was
No, that
a.
was a.
I
I
used the
used the
tool,
tool,
actually, the
actually, the
website
website
that you
that you
detailed
detailed
on your
on your
videos.
videos. Oh, okay, that's good. And I guess I guess it. I think what's it called? I actually have it here because I'm about to do a an example of it here on live stream. It's coinables.github.io/segwit / It's Kyle Honeycutt. He was a guest on this show, and he works on. He's a web developer, and he made a SegWit paper wallet um, generator and sender. So you can actually send those paper wallets, put in your private key, and it allows you to set the transaction fee here. I'll try to see if I could share screen here and show it. Let me see here. Share screen. Okay, so here it is. If you see it, it's SegWit paper wallet. I've already made some videos on it. He made it literally the day after it was activated, and so I've been playing around with it and using it. And of course, here you go. It's you just push this button right here. It says new SegWit address, and then on the bottom portion is your send. You put in the private address here, and then your destination right here, and it you push transfer funds, and it puts something in here. I guess it's some kind of broadcasting code here, and then your fees go right here. And I've already done several transactions there. The lowest I've ever gotten to have it confirmed is 12 cents, and that was I set it at 20 satoshis per byte. But when it broadcasted, it actually, I don't know how it figures it. It shows as a 12 satoshis per byte, I think. Yeah, I think it was like 12 something satoshis per byte. So I don't know where it gets reduced. I don't know if that's a SegWit thing. I've tried 0, it doesn't work. I've tried 1, it gets unconfirmed, but someone has to pull it through. So is that something that you used?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
exactly
exactly
what I
what I
used
used
to pull
to
that
pull that
transaction over.
transaction over. Okay, and I guess at the time it automatically sets to the best fee or the best uh, miner's fee possible in a reasonable time. So it was set high, and I guess you didn't have a chance to set it at a lower price because you
Oh,
did end up paying a
I
higher
had a
price.
chance. I just wasn't intelligent enough to take it.
Okay. So, but I did notice now that the transactions are a lot lower. The fees are
Yeah,
a lot.
I saw just now when you pulled it up, the default was at 68. When I did it, the default was like 128 or something like that.
Wow. Okay. Well, so what are your thoughts on the SegWit transaction? Is it making a difference? Um, I haven't noticed anything different other than it's just a SegWit address and a SegWit transaction, and it seems like a lot of wallets are starting to come online or update their wallets to start doing SegWit transactions.
Well, I haven't noticed any difference like in the Bitcoin network. I think the decrease in traffic, I don't know if we can thank SegWit for that or not. Um, I think it's kind of a pain in the butt right now, what you have to go through for the SegWit. So it's good there are more wallets coming online that enable people to do transactions, SegWit transactions. Um, Let me ask you, James, like, so the SegWit addresses all begin with 3, right? And I was able to send that SegWit Bitcoin you had out there for the treasure hunt to a normal, a non-SegWit address, I guess you could say, one I had beforehand, and it went there just fine. So how does that work out with SegWited addresses and non-SegWited addresses? I've heard people mention that you could end up losing coin or messing up somehow. What are potential pitfalls for our listeners when dealing with SegWit?
Well, from what I understand, it's no different. Um, if you look at the public keys, they're like they're the same as multi-sig addresses. And so I've been playing around with different wallet generators, and they're just different implementations of the code. And from what I could tell, I think all wallets can just update and implement the SegWit addresses. So they're just no different than all the different addresses that you've been making or I've been making on Coinami or Mycelium or anything. Um, so it's the same blockchain. It's just a different address key. Although when you do send it, it does a different script. It says witness, and that's about the only thing. But as far as the blockchain, the SegWit update has already happened, so all the transactions are SegWit compatible, from what I can understand. I mean, we're living in a post SegWit blockchain right now, so
Right.
everything you do is a SegWit block.
So, okay, when I guess there's something right now, the only way we could send transactions and do things was through like that paper wallet generator. I mean, my Coinami doesn't have any SegWit addresses on it.
Yeah, they haven't updated yet, but again, I've been playing around with different wallet generators, and they're already compatible. I think that's makes it a
Hmm.
little bit easier for some wallet generators, and maybe not wallets that are, Coinami is not quite open source. Neither is Mycelium or Jax. So I think it'll take some time for them to update their wallets where they can uh, have the SegWit addresses available for people to use and experiment with. But right now, um, let me see here. I'm gonna share my screen here. I'm gonna show Kyle's thing again here. But right now, this is kind of what I found. I found another wallet generator, but this is the only one that I can find that actually will your let you sweep the keys and send them. So let's just do a private, not private. Let's just do an example here, and I will reveal my private keys here. All right, and hopefully somebody can go onto this site and go ahead and try it out. You probably need to use this site, or if you have a SegWit, a wallet that can sweep it, because if you sweep it now, you'll end up with a different address. You won't end up with this address right here, which starts with a 3. So hopefully this gives you enough time to go ahead and scan the private key, because I already have uh, something else here. I've already got something else ready for it to send. Let me see here if I can. So I'm going to go ahead and scan into this and then send out. So let me do that. And
I'm not going to do
I'm not
anything.
gonna do
I'm going to
anything.
sit here
I'm
and
gonna
just
sit
watch
here
this
and just watch
happen
this happen
as my thumbs
as my
twitch and I
thumbs
hold them
twitch and I
back.
hold them back.
And I'm going to
yeah,
wait
don't
till
worry,
an
Chris.
hour
I have
after
another
the
treasure
show.
hunt for you. I have another treasure hunt just for you.
Oh, right on.
All right.
I'm I'm also going to do another treasure hunt. I was talking to Yellow Fever for you, and he wants me to do one on him.
Fun.
Yeah, but he wants me to do it a different way. He wants me to put in $10 and then just have it. I'm going to do an encrypted private key, typical five worded private key. But the $10 is all I'm going to put in, and then I just show the private key. He wants me to do it this way for his treasure hunt, and that's that's about it. So anybody can try to guess the whole thing, and they got the $10. But he wants me to wait or ask other people to donate into it, and every $10 I have to give. I'll probably give a first clue. Then the next $10 that someone donates into it, he wants me to give the next clue. He doesn't want me to give the answers. He just wants me to give the next clue. And when someone else donates up to $10, it could be several people, but as long as it reaches like 10, 20, 30, each time it breaks $10 going up, he wants me to provide the next clue all the way up to the fifth clue. And then after that, he still doesn't want me to give the answers. And if another person wants to keep donating $10 more, he wants me to give out more of the clues to it until someone actually cracks it. So he's hoping to get more people to really try to crack the code without me giving the answers like I've been doing. Like I would give you the answers slowly. He just wants me to
Right.
give out more clues to it so someone can eventually crack it. So
Right on. That sounds like it's going to be fun.
it sounds like it's going to be fun. I know you're going to be in it. Hopefully, we'll get people to donate. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and scan this thing.
All right, so everybody who's watching right now live, you're going to have the chance to perform a SegWit transaction and get some free Bitcoin tonight.
Well, I'm going to actually send this to another SegWit, and then I'm going to use the sender to send to the empty SegWit. And I'm going to do it with I'm going to do like one Satoshi. It's going to be unconfirmed, but I want other people to pull it, like how you were talking about child pays for parent. I guess that's what it is. I'm not sure if that's really what it is. But what I like about the wallet that he provides is that you can spend unconfirmed transactions. So here it is. Oh, there's the unconfirmed transaction right there from my wallet. And then I think I already have it set up. So what is it? 20. I sent it from my Coinami wallet for 23 cents. Was that 22 Satoshis? So here it is. And I already got the private key in here. And I'm going to put in this address. And I'm going to put in one Satoshi because I want most of you to, I guess, get it. I'm trying to do a SegWit transaction just for the fun of it and show you that this website here, this website link is also in the notes section. So go ahead and check it out. I've used it so far. It seems legit. Kyle didn't put any malicious code in it. Okay, and then here it is. And then I just push send one more time, and we should see it in the other one. I want to double check. Okay, that's what I sent in. Okay. Okay, there's a transaction ID. Looks like it went through. Let's see if it actually did go through. Okay, there it went in, and here it went out, and the fee was. Oh, I forgot to. Did I change it?
That's not the right.
Oh, that's not the right one.
Well, that's not it yet. There it is.
This is it. Okay. No, that went in. Oh, okay. Here it is. No, that's not it. That's one. That's one went in. This is.
That's the
Yes.
one that the guy swept over to his hardware wallet. That's the big treasure hunt
Right.
wallet.
Wow, you know my wallets very well.
Well, that's
There it
part of playing the game,
is. Okay.
isn't it?
There you go. There it is. 1 cent fee. 1 cent fee for 0.62 satoshis. It shows unconfirmed. I tried zero. I tried zero fees, but it wouldn't. It would not go through at all. So I tried 1 satoshi. At least it shows unconfirmed. And now all you have to do is find yourself a SegWit wallet. If you go to this address, the link is in the note section here. You can use the sender, and it will send also unconfirmed. And you could put whatever fees you want on it. Um, I've never tried 10 satoshis. I think it will eventually confirm at 10 satoshis. I've tried 20. I haven't tried 10 satoshis, but considering the mempool is pretty empty, it actually might it might actually go through. So there you go, people. Have fun with the SegWit wallets. Again, thank you, Kyle, for generating and making this website and allowing other people to experiment and do SegWit transactions, and also allowing them to send SegWit transactions. So you don't have to use this particular site to generate your private keys. You can use other SegWit addresses and other SegWit private keys and use the sender on the bottom right here to, and then you could set the fees that you want and not allow the wallets to set the fees, um, because I know most wallets won't let you set fees at all. And have fun experimenting with them. So stop sharing that. I'll try to pop that up later. I might actually even check the wallet itself. Let's see if anybody started pulling on it. Yeah, that's a new wallet right there.
You're not sharing anymore on your screen.
Yeah, I'm not sharing anymore. I'm just looking at the new wallet. I guess I could share it. We could take a look at the new wallet. Looks like no one's grabbed it yet. But here's the new wallet right there, and showing unconfirmed. But anybody can pull on it and sweep the keys if you use the generator that or the sender or even their own SegWit wallets. So I think Mycelium, no, not Mycelium, Trezor, Ledger, maybe even KeepKey has already updated their wallets to accept SegWit transactions.
You want to show them the private key one more time for the live viewers?
Okay, one more time. Here you go. Hopefully you can see that. I'll make it a little bit bigger here. There you go. And if you also want to put more money into it, there's also the public address on the left side. So, and as for the other treasure hunt for you, Brian, You could probably do this. I know you'll look it up and you'll find it. It's it is the it's the last encrypted paper wallet. Matter of fact, if you go to what is it? How to split your Bitcoin Cash Part Two. If there is actually two private keys in that video, and so um, one of those private keys uh, has Bitcoins on them, $5 worth. So I know you can find that real quick. I don't know about anybody else.
All right, I'll do it
Even
right
if I
after
told
the show.
even if I told somebody else, they probably you're the only one who's fast enough and always on it. So I don't mind. But there's a treasure hunt for you, Brian. Since I know you want to do this one so
Thank you, kind sir. It looks like my patience paid off.
bad. Well, the last one you missed out. You waited 10 minutes, and someone else came in. Someone else came in and took those bitcoins. So okay,
Yeah, I was
hopefully this
kind of
goes
bummed
well.
about that, but that was the reason for me to wait 10 minutes was to give somebody a chance. So I quickly got unbummed.
You quickly got unbummed. You're like thinking, okay, I'll give it. You probably said to yourself, well, if I give it 10 minutes and then take it, I won't feel that bad. But someone did take it. Now you feel bad, and you're like, I'm not gonna do that again.
Nah, I'm still going to keep doing it because the point is for other folks to learn.
Okay, good point. Well, hopefully people do watch the videos and they get a chance to uh, experience what a SegWit transaction looks like, how it works, maybe even try the SegWit paper wallets. All right, let's go on to the next subject here. Stop that. So what's going on next here? All right, so we talked about SegWit and the mempool. The mempool has dramatically gone down. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a decrease in overall transactions going through because I didn't see what the volume is, but yeah, it doesn't seem like in the pool now.
Okay. I see Richie Rich says the private key is empty. That's because you need to use a SegWit wallet, or you need to go to the actual website and use the sender. The coinables.github / SegWit / it has to be SegWit. It has to be a SegWit wallet. So if you're scanning it with your regular wallets that haven't been updated to SegWit transactions, you'll probably get when you scan the private key, you'll get like a regular public key showing up with 0 bitcoins in it. Well, you probably want to email or contact that wallet provider and let them know they need to update. Otherwise, you can go to the website and just use the sender, like how I sent the SegWit transaction. So, all right. So yeah, the mempool has gone down um, dramatically to the point where we're getting like 12 cents, 20 to 10 satoshis, which I haven't seen in a long time. It's been like 3 years almost. It feels like 3 years. It's only been a year or two. So, okay, let's see here. Let's go on. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is localmonero.co. Do you feel like doing any anonymous transactions?
Wow, Monero, localmonero.co. Now that's pretty interesting. Um, First of all, isn't Monero supposed to be private of all of the cryptocurrencies?
You know, I've heard that too, and I've had a chance to experiment with their chain, and Yeah, it's pretty confusing, especially if you're using paper wallets, um, because their block explorer doesn't tell you anything unless you have a view key or a transaction key that the person who sent you the Monero has to give to you in order to see the transaction at all, and that's just to see the transaction that was being sent. It doesn't show anything other than the return address, nothing. And there's also another option where you can obscure your return addresses to like 20 other dummy addresses. So it really confuses the hell out of you. And sometimes the Explorer tells you something very confusing. So it's definitely different than Bitcoin. Unless you have the actual wallet on your desktop, I don't know if they have a mobile version. It's really hard to figure out how many Monero you have.
Yeah, from the people I've heard discuss it, they say it's not easy to use, um, and that is probably why a lot of people don't. But I hear it's very popular in the illegal markets, right? And it took a huge bump in price over this last week. It's like in one day it went up like $100 or something like that.
Yeah, it went from 30 to $100, I think. And I have point 0.5 Monero actually, so I guess I benefited from that. I don't know. I'm guessing because I literally just like wrote it on my sticky on my smartphone. Like I had to add, like someone sent me like point 0.1, point 0.3, and then point 0.2 or something. Somebody donated some because I did some videos on Monero paper wallets. So I literally just don't know how much I really have. I just added it. So I think I got point 0.5 Monero. But
I don't have any Monero, and I really don't plan on getting any.
well, I guess if you tried to, you can use localmonero.co, and I don't know how popular it's going to get because there's also a local Litecoin as well, and I've never used that either. And it seems kind of weird because once you meet someone to do a trade, well, you're not anonymous anymore, and that's always been the weak point is when you actually meet someone to do a physical trade, you all of a sudden now you can identify that person.
Well, yes and no. I mean, there are things you could do to be unrecognizable.
Okay, like okay, Brian, like what?
You know, there's the classic glasses with the nose and mustache that always works, hat, different things. I'm not going to go into all the craft, right?
Okay, very good. Okay, yes, the fake mustache, the fake beard. I understand. I guess so. That's always a good one. So I just want to share that with you. So the market's kind of opening up, where other altcoins are starting to do peer-to-peer trading. So I think this could be a trend in the future where other people can just do more peer-to-peer trades with these other altcoins. And I think more they become more in demand in physical reality, I think you're going to see more of them. So just want to share that. And then two more things. Whopper Coin and Kick ICOs, or Whopper Coin, the token for in Russia for Burger King, and then the Kick ICO. Have you heard of any about? Do you know any about? Do you know anything about those?
A little bit about both. I read some today. The Burger King one's interesting. They're going to use that as a rewards system for their patrons, and you get X amount of Whopper coins saved up, then you are able to purchase a Whopper with them. And that's the plan currently. But you know, those coins will either go up or down in value, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. I think there was one person in an article I read that said, listen, it's also an investment opportunity. Eat a Whopper, invest in your future, which is very funny.
The Russians are really experimenting with I guess coins, and this is one of those where it's a token, a redeemable
Oh
token
yeah,
for food.
it's right, and it's Russian, so of course it's an ERC-20 token.
Right. ERC-20 token. I wonder how that's going to work out. This is by far a real, token. It's not a security. And if this is like the best use case for Ethereum, um, I don't know if if it's a good way to use Ethereum just to make a redeemable token, um, you know, a rewards program, maybe even a rewards program, because there's other applications and platforms that can use this. But I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to use it. Would you buy a token? Like if that happened in America with Burger King in America, would you use that token, or would you just go ahead and just give out your cash and or your debit card just to eat a hamburger?
Well, I mean, if I already have a Burger King loyalty rewards program card, and now they're loading it with coins instead of points, I'll keep the coins, sure. And I'll probably hold on to the coins, and every time I eat Burger King, just spend my fiat and hold on to the coins and see what happens.
Yeah, because there might be a secondary market where you could sell them for more than they're actually worth. They wouldn't be used at all for redeeming for hamburgers.
It's like, I'll gladly pay you for a hamburger on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Lend me your Whopper coin.
Is that from Popeye?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, it's a good test for that. And the second thing I want to talk about was Kick. Do you know what Kick is? There's a Kick ICO coming up, or it did already come up. It had 50 million,
Yeah,
raised 50 million already.
yeah. Kik is a communications platform. It's a mobile communications platform. It's an app. Kik is widely used in adult services communities as well. So it'll be interesting now that it has a coin in the community, if that's used in adult services instead of fiat, which I've heard that's a way they're going to try to get around laws, right? If you're not using money, if you're trading some coin or token, then it's not an illegal act. I don't know. That'll be another interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, I've
You know, they got, I think it was 25 million they've raised out of a 75 million that they're looking to get.
okay, yeah, and they're looking to do more. They're trying to issue more tokens. I guess to get I don't know what the tokens are. I think the tokens are just a crowd sale. They're not in any way any interest in the company. And then supposedly you're going to redeem those tokens to get their app tokens, which are called Ken. So they're raising money through the token sale, and then I'm not sure what you're going to do with the token. There's no indication whether these tokens will be redeemable or not, and so it's just a way for them to get money. You're just literally just making a charitable donation, just like buying a Whopper coin for the most part. So I'm not sure if the tokens are actually going to result into an in-app token, which are called Ken. But what I've noticed when I read the CoinDesk article, uh, the Kick app, the messaging app, they're used by a lot of teenagers, underage children, And also I do know that it's also being used in the sex trade. And so this kind of alarms me, and how many people are excited about this particular app here, considering its kind of murky uses. And and one of the things they mentioned that they could do with these KENs, this in-app token payment system that they're going to try to do, is you could pay for content directly to the end user for live streams or streaming videos.
Well, see, that just ties into what both of us said we know Kick to be used in and for. That can be used by these webcam girls, and it can be used by these heinous men that have webcam kids.
Yeah, and the reason I know about this because there's other social media sites that cater to more of the dark side, kinda. I heard about this stuff, so I ventured into it a little bit to see what it's like, and most of the time you will get hit up and asked to use Kick for these, so you can personally message each other, and often men are hit up more than anyone else. But I've also heard reports that you know it could also be used to entice uh, underage children into the sex trade. And so it really does concern me about this whole ICO, and from what I understand how it's being used, and from reading the CoinDesk article, they make it seem like it's appealing to investors. Like investors want to put money into this, like they're trying to profit off of, which I think they may or may not know is kind of like the dark side of how Kick is being used. So Brian, will you be investing into Kick?
No, I'm not going to be investing into Kick. Absolutely not.
All right. I see that Richie Rich has won. Did you get it, Richie Rich? Looks like Richie Rich has got the.
Ah, congratulations, Richie Rich.
Let me see
You
here.
did get it for sure?
I'm checking it right now.
All right.
No, actually, it's still here.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, if it's still here, it's still here. Maybe it hasn't show on the blockchain yet. But if it's still there, Brian, you may end up with $10 today.
Well, I'm going to give that one some time, definitely. Because then you got to upload it and we got to give people a chance to watch it.
Oh, Richie Rich says he's waiting for the confirmation. Richie Rich, I doubt that it will confirm because I tried my previous transaction. The only reason that it confirmed with 1 cent fee is because somebody else already pulled it with the higher fee. So you probably need to pull that transaction with a higher fee when you sweep the keys, just to let you know. So don't wait for it to confirm. It will not. I don't think it's going to confirm for a very very long time with a 1 cent fee. I was just trying to show people that you can pull an unconfirmed if you put your transaction to another wallet with a higher fee. Try like 10 or 20 satoshis per byte, and it'll probably be locked into your wallet and be confirmed at a later time. All right. And so that's the last thing I want to talk about. And so if you have any more, do you have any closing statements or anything you want to say?
Uh, no. Just everyone remember those in Houston and the lessons that you can learn about crypto from Houston, which we discussed at the beginning of the episode, which is take care and guard your private keys very well and very wisely.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Brian. And this concludes this episode. So please like, dislike, share, leave a comment, and also if you want, you can do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned, everyone. Bye bye.